So page number 1011. Okay, in this page, see question number 1. Start and give me the answer. Page number 1011. In that question number 1, solve and tell me the answer. Okay, listen. Now you know energy gap is 0 for conductors. We have studied in 11th standard. Energy gap is 0 for conductors. Energy gap is less than 3 electron volt for semiconductors. Switch on your camera, okay? And energy gap is maximum for insulators. Okay, first thing. Do you remember this from your 11th standard? Energy gap is minimum for conductors. Energy gap is minimum in the sense 0 for conductors, minimum for semiconductors, and maximum for insulators. Now, what they are asking us, carbon, silicon, and germanium. Please look at the screen. Carbon, silicon, and germanium. Now, please classify them as conductors, insulators, and semiconductors. Can I say carbon is an insulator? Silicon is a semiconductor. Germanium also is a semiconductor, correct? So what they have told in the question.
Sir, how can we classify it? Sir, I don't know how to classify it into a semiconductor or an insulator.
Semiconductor is only germanium and silicon. That if you don't know, that's a problem, because germanium and silicon are the only two semiconductors we have studied from 11th and 12th. That much you know, semiconductor is germanium, silicon, that much at least.
Yes, sir.
And insulators are all carbon compounds. Like diamond is an insulator, carbon is an insulator, and all metals are conductors. All metals. For example, if they give you aluminium, that is a conductor. So copper, that is a conductor. All metals are conductors. Carbon and derivatives are insulators. Semiconductor is silicon and germanium. Okay, semiconductor
so
is
only these two, silicon and germanium, are semiconductors, na?
So in these three, carbon, silicon, and germanium, I know that carbon is an insulator. Silicon and germanium both are semiconductors. Okay. And I know one more thing about energy gap. Can I say energy gap is minimum for conductors? Means energy gap is 0 electron volt for conductors, lesser than 3 electron volt for semiconductors, and greater than 3 electron volt for insulators. 11th standard semiconductors. Now what they're telling us is the valence and conduction bands are separated by an energy gap. That is energy gap of carbon, energy gap of silicon, and energy gap of germanium. Can you tell me among these three, which one will have the highest energy gap? Which one will have the highest energy gap out of these three?
Carbon.
Can I say carbon will have the highest energy gap because carbon is an insulator? So can I say, forget between germanium and silicon, can I say between carbon, silicon, germanium, carbon will have the highest energy gap because it's an insulator? Now what they're saying, which of the following is true? Look at option A. They're saying energy gap of carbon is same as energy gap of silicon. Wrong, completely wrong, because energy gap of insulator cannot be equal to energy gap of a semiconductor. Option A is wrong. Option B. energy gap, okay, energy gap of carbon is less than energy gap of germanium. Completely wrong, because energy gap of germanium should be less than that of carbon. Option C, energy gap of carbon is greater than energy gap of silicon. Correct, because energy gap of insulator is greater than energy gap of a semiconductor. Therefore, option C looks right. Option D, energy gap of carbon is lesser than energy gap of silicon. Again wrong, because it's an insulator. Therefore, the only option that is left is option C. Now, between
what is
germanium and
energy gap?
silicon, which has the higher energy gap, you will come to know in the future questions. And when it comes, I will tell you. If you know, well and good. If you don't know, we will do it. Okay. Between germanium and silicon, which has a higher energy gap, 0.7 and 1.1 are the answers. Anyway, we'll get it in the future questions. Okay.
Can you tell what is energy gap?
Who is this?
Sir, it's me.
Very good. It is me, means Himanshu.
Yes, sir.
You're there in 11th standard, Himanshu, or not there in 11th standard?
Sir, I was not there in class 11.
Acha. Okay, so I'll give you the semiconductors recording of 11th.
Yes.
There I have explained the concept of band gap. Oh, by the way, talking about recording, Tanush, did you get the recordings?
Yes, I referred to YouTube. You had uploaded there.
Okay, fine. So Himanshu, you 11th standard semiconductors, you can refer. On YouTube, it is already there.
Sir, but for
And this
now,
is for everyone who has forgotten 11th standard semiconductors. You please, because the first 10 to 11 questions are based on little bit of 11th standard. And if 11th standard semiconductors is strong, this question is very easy. I hope everyone understood. This question is very easy.
sir,
If
but
you know
for
11th
now,
standard.
can you tell in short?
In short, energy gap is this. See. In short, energy gap is the gap between valence band and conduction band. What is valence band? Valence band is the outermost band of an atom, correct? Outermost band of an atom, and conduction band is the band or the orbital where electron can conduct. That is why it is called conduction band. If electron reaches the conduction band, it can conduct. As long as electron is in the valence band, it is not a free electron. As long as electron is in the valence band, it is not a free electron. For electron to conduct, electron has to jump to the conduction band. Only when electron jumps from valence band to conduction band, it can conduct electricity.
So
Therefore, for
different elements
conductors,
have different conduction band.
come again.
Different elements have different conduction band, right?
Different elements have different conduction band. Same element, different atoms also have different gap. The gap is different. Therefore, for conductors, there is no gap, so electrons can easily jump. In semiconductors, the gap is little small, so they take little bit of time. And in insulators, the gap is very large. Therefore, electrons cannot jump only. That is why they are called insulators. So this is energy gap.
Semiconductors, they need energy.
Semiconductors, what?
They need energy.
They need energy. Also, very good point, you got it up. Last year, I also discussed one point, all of you. Tell me what happens to a semiconductor at 0 Kelvin or at absolute zero. Does anyone
It
remember
becomes
the
an
answer?
insulator.
It
Insulator.
acts like an insulator. It acts like
Yes,
an
sir.
insulator. Therefore, can I say if I decrease the temperature of a semiconductor, it behaves like an insulator. And similarly, if I increase the temperature, it behaves like a conductor, because more temperature means more heat. Heat is the form of energy. Therefore, can I say more energy is absorbed by the electrons and it can jump. More energy is absorbed by the electrons and it can jump to higher bands. Therefore, listen to this. Semiconductors, if I decrease the temperature, they behave like insulators. And if I increase the temperature, they behave like conductor. For conductor, it is exactly opposite. For conductors, it is exactly opposite. For conductors, if I decrease the temperature, their conductivity decreases, increases. And if I increase the temperature, conductivity decreases. So semiconductors and conductors behave exactly opposite with respect to temperature. So just remember, semiconductor, when I make the temperature low, they do not conduct. And when I make the temperature high, they will conduct. Therefore, the answer to the question, what happens to a semiconductor at 0 Kelvin? At 0 Kelvin, electrons lose their mobility. Mobility means ability to move. Therefore, semiconductor behaves like an insulator. And as you increase the temperature, more and more electrons can jump from valence band to conduction band. Therefore, more and more electrons, when they jump, more electricity is generated. Therefore, they start behaving like a conductor.
So what is for conductor with respect to temperature?
What is?
For conductor with respect
Exactly opposite to that of semiconductor. Means when I decrease the, listen to this, listen everyone. When I decrease the temperature of a conductor, you might have studied in 10th standard also. It is called superconductor. Have you heard superconductor happens at very low temperature? For conductor, if I decrease the temperature, it increases conductivity. And when I increase the temperature, it decreases because resistance increases with increasing temperature. That is why. So,
Sir,
or you
when
can
we
just
increase the
remember ulta.
temperature, what will happen?
When we
Increase the temperature.
increase the temperature of a conductor,
Yes, what do we get?
conductivity decreases because, listen to this, when we increase the temperature of a conductor, listen everyone. When we increase the temperature of a conductor, resistivity increases. If resistivity increases, what decreases? Conductivity. Therefore, for a conductor, if I increase the temperature, my conductivity decreases. But for semiconductor, if I increase the temperature, conductivity increases. Okay. People who are in class and are not concentrating, I'm coming to the center. I'll hit all of you personally. Okay. So please concentrate. We get superconductor at extremely low temperature. Yes. We get insulator at very high temperature if it's a conductor. What is opposite of superconductor? Insulator. Correct, Anush? Bhavesh? Okay. Everyone understood this concept? Now,
Yes, sir. got
go
it.
to the second question and tell me if you have understood. Second question. Second question is, in an insulator, you know that insulator does not conduct. Insulator does not conduct. That means no electron can jump from valence band to conduction band in insulator because insulator does not conduct. Therefore, conduction band will be empty in insulator because if conduction band is not empty, that means it is conducting. Insulator cannot conduct. That means conduction band should be completely empty. Therefore, look at the options which matches our logic. In an insulator, valence band is partially filled with electrons. Wrong option. Because if valence band is partially filled, other half is filled in conduction band, which is wrong. If valence band is partially filled, even conduction band is partially filled, which is wrong. Look at option 2. Conduction band is partially filled, completely wrong because that is for semiconductors. Conduction band is empty and valence band is filled, perfect. Valence band is filled and conduction band is empty. Answer C as of now looks correct. And option D, conduction band is filled with electrons and valence band is empty. That is completely false. Again, that is for conductors.
Conductor.
So answer will be option C. Did you understand this question? Therefore, question number 1, answer is C, and question number 2 also answer is C. Got it? Now, go to question number 3. Start. Question number 3. small pieces of copper and germanium are cooled. So you take copper and you take germanium. Now tell me, copper is what? Copper is a metal, therefore copper is a conductor. And what is germanium? Germanium is a semiconductor. Germanium is a semiconductor. Correct? Copper is a conductor, germanium is a semiconductor. Now they are cooled. Then what happens to the resistance? Now, can I say if semiconductor is cooled, listen to me, if semiconductor is cooled, it behaves like an insulator. That means insulator means resistance will increase because in insulators resistance is more. Therefore, if I cool a semiconductor, resistance will increase, and exactly opposite for conductor. Therefore, for conductor, resistance will decrease because whatever happens to semiconductor, exactly opposite happens to that of conductor. Therefore, resistance of germanium increases and resistance of copper decreases. Therefore, which option matches? Just check. Each of them increase or decrease is not correct because one is a conductor and one is a semiconductor. Option C, copper decreases and germanium increases. Correct. Option
Right.
C as of now is right. And option D, germanium decreases and that of copper increases. Wrong, exactly opposite. Therefore,
Yes.
again, answer is C. Again, the
Option
right
D will
answer
be
is
right when it is heated, right?
option D will be right when it is heated, or option D will be right when they ask conductivity instead of resistance.
Yes, sir.
So we have done 1, 2, and 3. All three answers are C. Easy? Okay. Go to question number 4. Go to question number.
Sir, do we have this?
The voice is taking much.
Do we have this question in syllabus?
Question number 4.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, now look at question number 4. A semiconductor is known to have an electron concentration of 8 into 10 power 12 per centimeter cube and hole concentration of 4 into 10 power 13 per centimeter cube. Now, first you should find out which is higher. Electrons are higher or holes are higher. So if I look at this, can I say holes are higher because holes is 10 power 13? So can I say in this particular case, number of holes are greater than number of electrons? In this particular case, number of holes are greater than number of electrons. In that case, can I say it will be a p-type semiconductor? Because in p-type semiconductor, number of holes are greater than number of electrons. In n-type semiconductor, number of holes are less than number of electrons. That is in n-type semiconductor. And for an intrinsic semiconductor, that means a pure semiconductor, number of holes is equal to number of electrons. Okay. Okay. An intrinsic semiconductor only functions because of breaking of some covalent bonds. Otherwise, it does not function. Therefore, this is our table. Number of holes greater than number of electrons is p-type. Number of holes lesser than number of electrons is n-type. and number of holes equal to number of electrons is intrinsic semiconductor. In this particular case, I got case 1. I got this answer. Number of holes is greater than number of electrons. Therefore, it is a p-type semiconductor. Therefore, answer will be option A. That is your p-type semiconductor. Therefore, mark your answer as option A. That is fourth one is A. Getting it? So we have finished number 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me know if you have any doubt in all the 4 questions. 1, 2, 3,
No doubt,
4.
sir.
No doubt, sir.
Okay, good. Start with question number 5. Start with question number 5. Okay, answer for the 5th one. When the electrical conductivity of a semiconductor is only due to breaking of covalent bonds, that means it is not due to N-type, it is not due to P-type, no donor, no acceptor, no pentavalent impurity, no trivalent impurity. It happens on its own. Then that semiconductor is called as intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, otherwise it happens because of pentavalent impurity, it happens because of trivalent impurity. Here they have said it doesn't happen because of that. Therefore, answer is intrinsic semiconductor. Question number 5.
Sir, can you
answer will
repeat
be-
this?
Usually, conductivity of a semiconductor depends on the type of impurity added, correct? Either you add pentavalent impurity or you add trivalent impurity.
Yes, sir.
When you add pentavalent impurity, it becomes N-type semiconductor. When you add trivalent impurity, it becomes P-type semiconductor. That means either acceptor impurity, donor impurity. But in the question, they are saying it does not happen because of anything. It happens only due to its own breakage of covalent bonds.
Sir,
without any
but
external
intrinsic
force.
do not conduct, right?
It does not conduct. They are not saying whether it conducts. They are saying the conductivity, whatever it conducts or whatever conductivity it has, it is because of what? It is because of its own bond breaking. No external force. That means it is intrinsic. Not necessarily it will conduct. It will conduct varying amounts because it's a semiconductor. It will conduct even a bit naturally. Okay, naturally also it will conduct a bit, but due to its own, that is why it is called intrinsic. See, option A is donor. Donor means N-type semiconductor. Acceptor means P-type semiconductor. Extrinsic semiconductor means both N-type and P-type actually are types of extrinsic semiconductor itself.
Yes, sir.
What are the types of extrinsic semiconductor? N-type and P-type. What are the two types of semiconductors? Intrinsic and extrinsic. Therefore, answer over here will be intrinsic semiconductor. Therefore, answer for question number 5 will be C. Okay. Now start with question number 6. All of you start with question number 6. Switch on your cam. In the case of a semiconductor, which of the following statements is wrong? That means 3 statements are correct and 1 statement is wrong. So look at the first statement. Doping increases the conductivity. Correct. The more you dope a semiconductor, more it will conduct. Therefore, it is exactly correct. Therefore, no problem in option A. Option B, temperature coefficient of resistance is negative. That is NTC. You had PTC and you had NTC last year.
Yes, sir.
Remember, for conductors, temperature coefficient is always positive. For semiconductors, temperature coefficient is always negative. And for insulators, it is not applicable. I'll repeat. For conductors, it is PTC. You have positive temperature coefficient. For semiconductors, you always have NTC. That is negative temperature coefficient. For insulators, it is Na, not applicable. And for, that's it, only 3 other. Therefore, what they have said in the option, temperature coefficient of resistance is negative for semiconductor. That is correct. Temperature coefficient of resistance is negative. Now look at option C. Option C tells me resistivity is between that of a conductor and insulator. Resistivity is between that of a conductor and insulator. Resistivity is between that of a conductor and insulator is correct, because conductivity is also between that of a conductor and insulator. That is why it is called a semiconductor. And option D, at absolute 0, it behaves like a conductor. Completely false statement. What should be the right statement? The right statement should be at absolute 0.
It behaves like an insulator.
It behaves like an insulator. But here they have said it behaves like a conductor. Therefore, option D is the right option because it is wrong. Because they have told us to select the wrong option. Understood? Therefore, question number 6 answer is D. Start with question number 7. Question number 7. Which of the following, when added as an impurity to silicon, produces an N-type semiconductor. Tell me the three examples of N-type semiconductor that we did. N-type in the sense pentavalent impurities. I told you the code
Phosphorus.
word is up. Phosphorus,
and antimony.
antimony, arsenic, and phosphorus. Remember,
Yes.
arsenic, antimony, and phosphorus were the three pentavalent impurities which make it N-type. So answer will be A, phosphorus. Therefore, seventh one, answer will be A.
Sir, for P-type, it was boron, aluminium, and
Indium.
yes. Sir.
AIB. Okay. But for this, the answer will be what?
Option A.
Option A. For this, the option will be option A. Clear? Okay, good. Question number 8. Start. Question number 8. Okay. Question number 8. The increase in temperature of a semiconductor. Well, I told you as soon as the temperature of a semiconductor increases, conductivity also will increase. Exactly that opposite to conductor. Therefore, answer
Yes, sir.
will be A. Therefore, eighth answer will be A. And if the question was decrease in temperature,
It
then
will
the
be
answer will be B.
insulator.
Decrease in
Decrease its
conductivity.
conductivity.
Straightforward question.
So increase in temperature increases conductivity, no?
Of a semiconductor, huh? Only of a semiconductor.
Okay. sir.
Now look at question number 9. Before you start question number 9, tell me whether you have seen this formula before. E is equal to h nu
Yes, sir.
or E is equal to hc by lambda. We have done this in the past also. We have
Yes,
done it
sir.
in other chapters also, correct? What does
Both
h
but
stand for? Planck's constant.
Planck's constant.
What does c stand for? Speed of light. And what does lambda stand for? Lambda stands for wavelength, correct? Now, can
Yes.
anyone tell me what is the value for Planck's constant? It will be 6.63 into
Sir,
10
mu
power
is the
minus
frequency.
34. What is it?
Frequency.
Frequency, what happened?
Mu.
Nu is the frequency and nu will become c by lambda, correct?
Yes, sir.
And c is the speed of light. Speed of light is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So with this logic, try to answer question number 9. With this logic, try to answer question number 9. Please remember the answers are given in electron volt, but our formula of Planck's constant, speed of light, everything is in joule. That means your final answer, you have to divide by what to get the answer in electron volt? If your answer is in joule, you have to divide by what quantity to get it in electron
1.6
volt?
into 10 raised to minus 90.
Correct. You have to divide it by charge of an electron, which is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. So read question number 9, listen to all the clues that I've given you and try to get the answer.
Sir, E is the electric conductivity.
E is what?
Electric conductivity.
E is actually the energy. E is actually the energy. According to Planck's formula, energy of a photon is actually capital E in that particular formula. So that means here you have to find out what is the band gap energy. That means you have to find out energy only right now. So H and C, anyway, the value is constant. We will know the value. You don't need the question for that. It is what is the wavelength given as 2500 nanometer. 2500 nanometer means 2500 into 10 power 9. And your final answer you're supposed to divide with charge of an electron. So tell me the calculation answer for this. Anyone getting the answer for this calculation?
Yes, sir, got it.
You will not get the exact answer, but you can approximate.
I got, sir, 0.000 something. 4.
Then
So
what did you
I selected the answer which is very close to 0.
Correct. Answer closest to 0. And there is only one answer closest to 0. Other all answers are close to 1 and 2. Just check. So if you solve this, you will get an answer almost equal to half. Okay, so solve it. You will get the answer which is close to 0.5. The formula everyone should be aware of. Everyone should be aware of what is the value of h, that is Planck's constant, what is the value of c, speed of light, and what is the value of lambda, that is wavelength. Everyone should be aware of these three things. Okay, and also when you apply the formula E is equal to hc by lambda, you will get your answer in joule. But if you look at the options, all options are given in electron volt. Therefore, you have to divide it by 1.6 into 10 power minus 9. Okay.
Yes.
Therefore, answer will be close to D. Now, start with question number 10. All of you. Start with question number 10. Now, if you look at the diagram of question number 10, okay, if you look at the diagram of question number 10, they are saying in the energy band diagram, the material shown below, the open circles and the filled circles denote holes and electrons respectively. Therefore, open circles actually denote holes and filled circles denote electrons respectively. Actually, it should be exactly the opposite, but okay. Then the material is, okay, the material is, look at the diagram, okay. The filled circle should be holes, okay. Make a note, the filled circle should be holes and the empty circle should be electrons. Or filled circle electrons also is fine, okay. Filled circle electrons also is fine. Now tell me which kind of semiconductor do you think it is, or is it a semiconductor or not? Tell me first. Is the conduction band empty, full,
No, sir.
or partially full?
Partially full.
Sir, it is
It is-
partially filled.
It is partially full. Therefore, it cannot, therefore, if you look at the options, it cannot be an insulator or it cannot be a metal. Metal is a conductor. It cannot be any one of these two. Therefore, it has to be a semiconductor itself. Now, the confusion should be between N-type semiconductor and P-type semiconductor, correct? It should
Third
be
means
N-type.
holes are conducting here, it should be P-type semiconductor.
Yeah, so now how many holes are there? How many electrons are there in the whole system? Now count the number of holes and number of electrons. How many electrons are there? 4. Check. Number of electrons is 4. Everyone check. Filled circles. And how many holes are there? 6 holes are there. That is the not filled circles, just the empty circles. Can I say number of holes is greater than number of electrons? Number of holes is greater than number of electrons in my system. Therefore, can I say this type of semiconductor has to be P-type semiconductor? This type of semiconductor has to be P-type
Third
semiconductor.
number of electrons you said 4, right?
Number of electrons, I said 4 in the whole system. Just check.
But sir, is there need to count because it is pretty obvious that the number of holes more than number of electrons.
Your voice is breaking, but I heard number of holes and number of electrons. What do you have to count? You're asking.
My question was that is it necessary to count the number of electrons and holes? The number of holes are more.
If number of holes are more than number of electrons in the system, it is a P-type semiconductor. And if number of
Yes.
electrons are greater than number of holes, it's an N-type semiconductor.
Sir,
In
you
this
said to make a correction, right?
No, I said don't make a correction. Let it be as it is. Don't make the correction. Keep it as it is. For correction, I will do the correction now and I'll change the question. We'll take variation of this question. As of now, keep the question as it is in marbles.
Sir, actually it should be n-type, right? Because if we see only with the perspective of conduction band, the electrons are conducting.
Correct. Electrons are conducting, but holes is nothing but absence of electrons. That electrons will leave. What will remain back? Holes. That is why what is the best way to determine what is n-type and what is p-type? Number of holes and number of electrons of the system. System
Okay.
means VV plus CB. That is why simple calculation is count number of holes in the system, count number of electrons in the system. Understood?
Yes, sir, got it.
Yes, sir.
Also, if the question had nothing in the conduction band, okay, if it was empty, then there is no point of counting holes and electrons. I hope you understood why, because it's directly insulator.
Yes, sir.
If the conduction band there is nothing, then you cannot count number of holes and number of electrons in the system and tell you whether it's p-type or n-type. Then it is not a semiconductor itself because the conduction band is empty. Also, if the conduction band is full and the valence band is empty
It is
completely, it is conductor. So counting of holes and electrons should only be done if both valence band and conduction band have something in them. Only then it makes sense. Otherwise, the answer is directly insulator or conductor. That is a metal. Is this point clear?
Yes.
Okay. Answer for this question, it is D. And also the variations, I hope you understood. Okay. Answer for 11th one. Start. Answer for 11th one.
Sir, what if the number of holes is equal to the number of electrons in the system?
Intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, now I got one question. I don't know who was sending me the WhatsApp. What is the difference between hole and electron? Who was that? Someone asked me, right? What is the actual difference between hole and electron? Tell me. Much. Okay, listen to this. What in real life is hole and electron is, imagine there is an electron here, okay, everyone. And if electron leaves this place and goes somewhere else, here it leaves behind a vacuum. Vacuum in the sense it leaves behind a empty void, okay? Empty void like this. That place is called hole. Hole means absence of electron. For example, when you're walking on the beach, your feet are the electrons and the footprint you leave behind are the holes. Hole is nothing but the absence of an electron, or hole indicates electron was once present over there, but now electron is not there. Have you seen
Sir,
egg basket?
and since electrons have left, now it is positive over there. So we consider hole as positive.
Correct.
Right?
Since electron has left, according to the definition of physics, anything that loses electrons is positive. Okay.
Yes.
Also, have you seen ice tray? Now, imagine ice tray to be a semiconductor. If ice is there inside the ice tray, that ice is electron. If you remove that ice, can I say you'll have a hollow opening?
Yes.
Just the opening. That is called hole. Okay. That is the actual difference between holes and electrons. That is, if you see the diagram also, electrons are represented by solid circles. And if electrons leave the system, it is represented by a plane circle. Look at the previous question. See the notation also. Electron means it is there. And after electrons leave that place, only the shell is left. That is called hole. Did you get it now? Okay.
Yes.
Start with question number 11. Okay, let us do the 10th one. 11th one. Which of the following statements is wrong? That means 3 statements are correct. 1 statement is wrong. And what they are saying is, when a potential difference is applied across the current passing through. Now, current passing through an insulator at 0 Kelvin is 0 because current passing through an insulator is always 0. Therefore, the statement is right. Current passing through the semiconductor at 0 Kelvin is also 0. Correct, because we have
But
just done that
option is
topic.
wrong, right? They have
Option
given
C.
a condition in option A, while it should be always 0.
Correct. Option A should be always 0. But can I say even at 0 Kelvin insulator will be 0? That is correct. At any temperature it is 0. So option A becomes correct. Option C says a metal. Metal means a conductor. A conductor at 0 Kelvin is 0. No, actually a conductor at 0 Kelvin becomes superconductor. Because semiconductor and conductor have inverse relation. Therefore, option C is wrong. Option D, a reverse bias PN junction diode at 300K is finite. Reverse bias does not even conduct any electricity. But at 300 Kelvin means I'm increasing the temperature very high. So I'll get little bit of current. That means finite amount of some current. That means option D also is right. Therefore, which one do you think does not fit into the right
But
category?
can you explain option D?
See, option D is reverse bias PN junction, correct?
Yes.
Now tell me, does reverse bias PN junction conduct electricity? No,
No.
because holes and electrons have a very big band gap, correct? But they are saying I'm heating it to 300 Kelvin. That means I'm supplying temperature of 300 Kelvin. Can I say 300 Kelvin is very high temperature? And
Yes.
temperature, if I give it in the form of 300 Kelvin, that means it is given in the form of heat. So can I say if heat enters this PN junction diode, holes and electrons will get some energy to combine little bit. So little bit of
Yes.
current is passed, little bit current passed means finite current is passed. Therefore, can I say option D is also right? Because if I supply heat, so much of heat, little bit of holes and electrons will anyway recombine because of the excess energy that they have got. Therefore, option D becomes right. Option A and B are anyway right. Therefore, can I say option C is the wrong answer? All of you please confirm whether you
Yes,
understood.
sir. Got it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, start with question number 12. So the question is, when a battery is connected to a p-type semiconductor with the metallic wire, now current in the semiconductor will be because of what? That is p-type semiconductor, it will be
Holes.
because of what? And in the metallic wire, it will be because of what?
Electrons.
And in the battery, it will be because of what? You know, in a p-type semiconductor, the current is always because of holes, because holes are the majority charge carriers in a p-type semiconductor. Therefore, the first answer has to be holes. Because of that, option B and option C are automatically eliminated. My only option remaining is option A or option D. Now, in a wire, I know wire is nothing but the flow of electricity. Flow of electricity means flow of electrons. Therefore, I know in a wire, electrons only conduct. Therefore, between A and D, A is saying ions, so A is out. Therefore, semiconductor B-type holes, then battery or wire will be electrons, and the battery will have ions from positive to negative electrode. Therefore, the right
Electrolyte, right?
option will be D. Getting it? All of you?
Sir, electrolyte ions and all that, right, in battery.
Correct. Electrolyte ions, right. Between two electrodes, I have an electrolyte where the ions flow from anode to cathode. So we have finished the first 12 questions. I think we have not skipped any question, I feel. We have taken all, right? So I will give you 2 minutes. Read all the 12 questions. If you have any doubt, let me know. Exactly at 5:15, I will continue with the next topic. Class will be till 5:45, 5:50 today. Okay, I got some people asking me till what time is the class, because we're about to leave the center. Okay, no problem. I will take it for half an hour more. So read question number 1 to 12. I'll give you some time and then we'll proceed from the next section. Start. Okay, so question number 13. Start with question number 13. what they are saying in question number 13 is a semiconducting device is connected in series with the battery and a resistance. A current is found to pass through the circuit. And if I change the polarity, means if I make plus minus as minus plus, current is found to be zero. That means what they're saying, in one side it is forward biased. And when I change the polarity, it becomes reverse biased. So in one side it is forward biased. And when I change the polarity, it becomes reverse biased. Therefore, what kind of a substance is this? Therefore, can I say it is a PN junction or a PN junction diode? Because in a PN junction diode, in one polarity, that is in forward bias, current passes. And in the reverse polarity, that is the opposite polarity, current does not pass. Therefore, can I say the option has to be D? That is 13th answer is D, which is PN junction. Let me know if you got this answer right. 13th answer is G.
Yes, sir.
14th one, they have given a circuit. Look at that circuit. Here they have told silicon diode. Now you should remember that for silicon diode, the barrier potential will be 0.6 volt always. In any circuit, when they give you a diode, silicon, germanium will be 1.1, but when it comes, I'll tell you. But silicon diode barrier potential or potential is always 0.6 volt, and this is given as 3 volt. Therefore, the total potential across a voltage drop means potential difference over here will be how much that you have to find out. So start and let me
2 point. Sir, won't we add it?
potential difference you have to take, right? That is why it is called potential drop. What is the meaning of potential drop? Drop from the actual potential. We can add it depending on KVL, that is Kirchhoff's voltage law. But here they have only told us what is the drop. That means answer should be less than 3. So options also given accordingly. Check. Correct. Getting the answer 14.1, 2.4 volt.
Yes,
Because this
sir.
will be 3 minus 0.6. So 3 minus 0.6 will be 2.4. Clear?
Yes.
Now I teach you one kind of circuit. Listen to this. See this. You know this is a PN junction diode. All of you should know that this is a PN junction diode. And this is positive. This is negative. Means this is plus and this is minus. Correct? Now when is it forward biased? When plus is connected to positive and negative is connected to negative, it is
Okay.
forward biased. And when it is reverse biased, when this is connected to negative and this is connected to positive. Correct? Now in question number 17. In question number 17, they're asking us which of the following semiconductor diodes is reverse biased. Which of the following semiconductor diodes is reverse biased? So please look at the screen. Here, they have given one diode and they have done earthing. And here they have done -5. I'll write the answer with black. Now listen to me. Earthing means 0 volt, correct? This symbol means earth. It means 0 volt. And this is -5. So tell me between 0 and -5, which is higher? Between 0 and -5, which is higher? 0. Therefore, higher one will be positive, lower one will be negative. So -5 will be negative, 0 will be positive compared to each other. Now tell me, this is a forward biased or a reverse biased circuit? Just think about it and tell me. Can I say this is a reverse bias circuit?
Reverse bias.
Because positive is connected to negative and negative is connected to positive. Therefore, can I say diagram 1 is reverse biased? Now let me take diagram 2. -10 volt Okay. No, it is plus 10 volt. No, not minus 10. It is plus 10. Second diagram. Okay. Now I know that when it is grounded, what will be the answer when it is grounded? 0. And this is plus 10. So tell me, between 0 and plus 10, which is higher?
Plus 10.
Plus 10. Therefore, plus 10 will given positive and 0 will be given negative. Therefore, can I say this is forward biased or reverse biased? Tell me. This is forward biased because positive
Forward
is
biased.
connected to positive, negative is connected to negative. Therefore, this is forward biased. Now, look at diagram 3. Look at diagram 3. Here it is 10 volt and I have a diode and this is 5 volt. Now tell me, between 10 volt and 5 volt, which is higher? 10 volt is higher. Therefore, this will be given positive, this will be given negative, 5 volt. Therefore, tell me, what will be the answer over here? Can I say this is also forward biased? Because P is connected to positive and N is connected to negative.
Yes.
Therefore, circuit 1 is reverse biased, circuit 2 is
Sir, the
forward biased.
triangular part represents the positive part, right?
This part
In the
represents the positive part, this one.
Okay, got it.
And this represents the negative part of a diode. Now look at the fourth diagram. Look at the fourth diagram. If it is minus 5 volt and minus 15 volt. Okay. Now tell me, between minus 5 and minus 15, which is higher? Minus 5 is higher. Therefore, can I say minus 5 will be positive, minus 15 will be negative? Clear? Therefore, can I say here P is connected to positive, N is connected to negative. So even this is forward biased.
Yes.
Therefore, tell me what should be the answer? What is the question that they have asked? They have asked
It
which of the
should be.
following semiconductor is reverse biased. Therefore, can I say only the first circuit is reverse biased? Check.
Yes.
Others all are forward biased. Therefore, answer will be C. But I want you to make a note on your own and try it again and let me know if you have got it. Okay, start. Now with the similar logic, solve the 19th one and tell me the answer. With the similar logic, solve the 19th one. Jay, I saw your answer right now for that question. Yes, you can also say that. Start with 19th one, same logic what I have told for question number 17, and tell me what should be the answer. Nineteenth one. Correct, Nikki. Others try to give the answer. We have to see which of the following diodes is forward biased in this case.
Sir, the ones which you are not doing, we don't have them, right?
I'll do it. I'll complete it. I just wanted to teach this logic. I'll go to the previous questions.
Okay.
Okay, got the answer for the 19th one. 19th one answer I think will be B, but anyway, we will solve it now. Okay, listen. See this. First one is -4 volt, -3 volt. So which is greater? -3 is greater than -4. So this is positive and this is negative. So can I say this one positive is connected to negative and negative is connected to positive? Therefore, what should be the answer? Answer will be reverse biased. My question is to find out forward biased. So let me go to the next one. Here it is -2 and here it is 0. So now can I say 0 is greater than -2? Therefore, 0 will act as positive and -2 will act as negative. Therefore, positive connected to positive and negative connected to negative. Therefore, answer is forward biased. Next. -2. plus 2 and minus 2. So plus 2 is more positive than minus 2. Therefore, this will be positive and this will be negative. Correct? Plus 2 will be more positive. Therefore, positive connected to negative, negative connected to positive. Therefore, again, this will be reverse biased. And the last one, this is 6, this is 3. Therefore, this will be positive, this will be negative. Again, positive is connected to negative, negative is connected to positive. Therefore, this will also be reverse biased. Therefore, out of all this, reverse, forward, reverse, reverse, only this one is forward biased. That is my second circuit. Therefore, option B will be my right answer. Just check if you're getting this answer.
Yes, sir.
Getting it, all of you, please check. Okay. 20th one, you don't have Zener diode, so that is omitted anyway. That will not come. 19th one, we have anyway done. 1 minute. We have done the 19th one. We have done the 17th one. Try to do the 18th one. We have done the similar concept in 12 standard semiconductors. So start with the 18th one and tell me what should be the answer. Anyone getting the answer for the 18th one?
No idea.
A half wave rectifier is just a rectifier and alternating voltage of frequency 60 hertz. That means input frequency 60 hertz. For half wave, I know the output frequency also will be 60 hertz itself. It will be the same. In fact, we had done a problem of 50 hertz in your boards. And for full wave, it will become double. For full wave, it will become 120 hertz. Check your 12 standard notes. Okay, it will become 120 hertz. Okay, Dia? Very good, Dia. Okay. So 60 hertz for half wave will remain as 60 hertz because the output will be the same as input, and for full wave it will be double, it will be 120 hertz. Clear? Therefore, answer for this 18th one will be C. Check. Answer for the 18th one will be C. Just check.
Also, the number of pulses will be same.
Number of pulses is nothing but frequency only, so it will be same. Yes. So 18th one is done. 17th one is done. Start with the 16th. Okay, answer is pretty straightforward. If the forward bias voltage of a junction diode is increased from 0.8 to 2 volt, what is the potential difference? That will be 2 minus 0.8. That will be my potential difference. And what is the current? Current increases by. Therefore, my change in current is 4 milliampere. That is 4 into 10 power minus 3 ampere. What is the resistance? I know that resistance is delta V by delta I. 2 minus 0.8 will be 1.2. And current is 4 into 10 power minus 3. So tell me what answer will you get? Therefore, 1.2 divided by 4 into 10 power 3. So it will be 1200 divided by 4. 1.2 into 3 divided by 4. Therefore, 1200 divided by 4. And 1200 divided by 4 will be 300 ohm. Therefore, answer will be C, which is 300 ohm. Just check if you're getting the right answer. Over.
Yes, so getting.
Okay, so the last question for today is question number 15. Start. Question number. See what they are saying. Some current is flowing in the milliammeter in the following circuit. If applied voltage is increased, then the potential difference also will increase. Therefore, option A is wrong. The potential difference across the diode increases. That is false. Remember, the potential difference across the diode means around the diode will not change at all. Doesn't matter what the circuit connection is. That is why for the previous question for silicon diode, we took 0.6. It will always remain 0.6 irrespective of whether it is connected to 3 volt, 4 volt, 5 volt. That means potential difference across the diode will not change. It doesn't matter what the circuit is. Therefore, option B is also wrong. Option C,
So can
potential
you repeat this?
potential difference across the diode remains constant. Option C, that is correct. Potential difference across the diode is always a constant value. It does not depend on the circuit connections. For example, if I give you a silicon diode and if I tell you the potential across this diode is 0.6, you connect it to any circuit, that value won't change. Potential across the diode will always remain constant irrespective of the external circuit. That is why option B becomes wrong and option C becomes correct. Check.
Sir, but while we apply something like in silicon diode, we applied 3 volts, so the difference was 2.4. If we would have applied a different value, then it would have been
And the
different.
circuit answer would change. Across the diode, it would not change. They are asking only in the diode. The circuit answer will change, but the diode answer.
Okay, got it.
Got it? Therefore, option C is right.
And A and D, we have to avoid it, right?
And since option C is right, option B is automatically wrong. Correct? Just check. If option C is right, option B is automatic.
Sir, but what happens to the resistance and the current? Because
What
here
happens
they
to
have
the
resistance and current.
Resistance and the current you have to calculate. For example, if junction diode, they have not mentioned which junction diode it is. Okay. If it is silicon, then you have to put 0.4, 0.6. Correct. Then what is 2 minus 0.6? 1.4.
Yes.
Can I say the total voltage is 1.4? Then depending on the resistance, current will change. Depending on the current, resistance will change. Then you have to actually solve it. But
Yes,
across
sir,
the
got
diode,
it.
it won't change.
Your information is incomplete.
If you really want to solve, then the information is incomplete. Correct. If you really want to go ahead, then there is no information given. They have not given the value of R. They have not given milliammeter value, and they have not even told which diode it is, whether it is germanium or silicon. They have given a very generic diagram. The answer also has to be that way.
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay. So I think we have done all the questions from 1 to 19. Just check, have we missed any?
Yes.
We have done all from 1 to 19. Which one have we missed?
No, sir, we have completed.
Okay. So your homework also is to practice the questions from 1 to 19. That will be your homework for today.
Okay, sir.
And from next class, I will start with the next page. That is 1013. Okay. With that, we stop the class for today. Thank you, all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Bye, sir. Thank you.